Hello guys, I am Umair Nazim and welcome to Let's Code. In the previous video, I showed you what are the arrays in Java and how to give the input and how to get the output. Actually, for that purpose, there are two things we use: how to give the input and how to get the output. So one is by using the for loop and one is by using the for each loop. And some people call it advanced loop also instead of for each loop. So actually I explained this thing for each loop in the arrays topic also, but I thought that to create it in a separate video, so that's why in this video I will show you what is the difference between for each loop and what is the difference between for each for loop, and we will talk in a very detail. So without wasting any time, let me show you. So guys, as you can see that here I have made one array, and this array name is number, num, and it is an array. So before actually writing something, let me explain this thing when we use this for each loop. Actually, for each loop is used with arrays or the arrays list. In the upcoming videos, I will also talk about what are the arrays list. But till now, you can think about it that it is used with arrays list or arrays. So what is the difference between then for loop and for each loop? Actually, we can access the elements of the array by using for loop and also for each loop. So actually, when you use the for loop, then you have to specify the indexes. So as I mentioned before, like the array's indexes will always start from 0. So this first index will be considered as 0. This one will be considered as 1. This one will be 2. This one will be 3, then 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So you can say that if we start counting from 0, it contains the 8 elements. So first of all, let me show you by using the for loop, and then I will talk about for each loop. So for loop, first I will write here for here, then I will create one, you can say index. So integer I is equal to 0. So here I have created one index, like I is equal to 0. I is a variable, so it means I pass the value 0. 0 means the first index. It will get the first index, that is 1. So I is equal to 0, then I is less than. So now one thing that is very important here. So when you use for loop, for that purpose actually you must have to know how many values you have entered in your array. So that is a little bit, you can say, tricky thing for when you are using for loop. So with in for each loop you don't need to specify the last like element, how many indexes it contains. So here, as you can see, we can count it. For example, it is 1 2 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So it means it is containing the 8 elements in it. So for that reason, simply I can use here I is less than 9. Okay, then I plus plus. So I will increment my loop. So in the previous video, I already explained it, how this loop will increment, how it will work. So if you don't know these things, so please watch my previous video that is related to the arrays, so you will understand this thing in a very good way, how our elements will increment, how the index we can reach to the indexes. So as you can see, now it will start from I is equal to 0, I is less than 9, because our array is containing total the 8 elements if we started from 0. So that's why it is I is less than 9. So I plus plus. So simply I will use here system out and I will print my statements. So now first of all I will use here the name of the array, that is number, and after that I will put my loop within it. Now let me show you here the result. Now when I execute this one, as you can see, 0 1 2 3 4 5 6, like these things are printed here. Now the last element was 5, and here the 5 is written. Now one important thing is that, for example, in this example actually we put the values by our own choice. Now for example, if we want to get the values from the user, so then we don't know how many values the user input it. So for that reason, instead of using this 9, I can use here num dot Now when I use here num dot, as you can see down it is written length, so I will press this one. So now what will happen here, this num means the name of my array. If you write the name of an array like something another name, so you will write that name similar here instead of the num. I use here num because I write the array name with num. So you will write the array name, then dot, then length. So it will automatically give you the length of your array. Whatever the length of array, it will give you the length. Okay, so you will create this for loop. I is less than num dot length. So let me print it again here, and as you can see the result is similar result. Now let me show you also here. So here is for loop. Okay, then for example if I want to show you how many indexes it has, so I will write here system.out print line, and within this one I will use here num dot length. So here when I write this one num dot length, okay, but I will put this one within a string. So the length is, so here I'm going to close this one here and I will use this one. So now what will happen actually, now let me run this one and I will show you how many values it contains. So you can say it is written the length is 9. So one thing you can think, it can comes into your mind, like here I said that it is containing 8 values, but it is printing this 9. Why? Actually, the index will start from 0, okay, but when you will use num dot length, so it will give you the answer according to your thinking. Because when a user will come, he don't know the index will start from 0. So according to this num dot length, according to this one, it will start from 1 2 3. It will not count from 0. So that's why when it will count from 1 to 3, then these elements, these values will become the ninth. So it means there are 9 numbers here, but in general if we start it from 0, then it contain 8. So if you are using num.length, that is a very good thing. But if you are you want to write, for example, the original index, like how many it is, then you will write here 8, the ninth. Okay, so I will simply you can say delete this one here, and now I will show you how can you use for each loop. So for each loop I will write here for each loop, for each loop. Okay, so I write here for each loop. Okay, now how can we access these elements by using for each loop? So for each loop the structure is really very important, the structure is very good here. So how can we do it? First of all I will use here for, and after that, okay, this one is the structure of for each loop. This one is the structure of for each loop. Okay, so what it's gonna do actually, so within these parentheses, within these two parentheses, now my first step is to write my array name. My array name is num, so I will write here as it is, array name is num. So in the left hand side of the num I will put these two columns here, and after that I will create here one integer. Now why one integer? Because whatever the data type of your array is, you will create here one more array with the same data type. So I will create here integer, for example num2. Okay, so now what will happen actually, as you can see here, this one num is similar like this num. Okay, so this num2 we have created one integer with number 2. So then you can say the data type of the array is integer. That's why here the data type of your second variable should be same. Okay, so I will write here system o. So now how can we print it? I will use here simply num2. So now I will explain you how this loop will work. So first of all, actually here, as you can see in the above, we specify the index here, and then also we write here num dot length, and we are incrementing our loops, and we are starting our loops from the index 0. So that's why without doing this one, we will simply use this one for each loop. So in for each loop, you don't need to specify the indexes. You will just write the name of your here array, and then you will create one more variable, okay, with the same data type. So now what will happen when it will run for the first time? It will get the first element of the array, and it will store that element into num2. Then we are printing this num2 value here. When second time it will run, then again it will get the element, it will store it into num2, and then we are printing this num2. So you can say that it will start from 0. So when it will start from 0, the 0 element is 1 here. It will get this 1 and it will put that 1 into this num2, and then we are printing this num2. Then again for the second time when it will run, it will get this 2, and then this 2 will be stored into this num2, and this num2 we are printing it here. So by using for each loop, actually when our array will finish, it will automatically stop the loop. So this is the benefit of using for each loop instead of for loop. So we prefer when you want to get the output from the data, from the array, sorry. So when you want to get the output, the good thing is you can use it for each loop, because you don't need to specify the num dot length, you don't need to specify any indexes. So just write your array name, create one more variable with the same data type, and it will automatically get the indexes, and when array will finish, it will automatically cancel the loop.
So guys, that's it for today. If you like the video, subscribe my channel, write your comments, give your opinion and share it with your friends. See you in the next video with a new topic. Take care.